Sonic Generations and Shadow the Hedgehog. What is happening, Sega? So, I just logged onto YouTube like how I usually do, and first thing I opened was 7 minutes ago, Sega. And Sonic Generations was one of the first ever games I have ever played in my entire life. Well, the first ever game I ever played is actually Sonic Black Knight, but that's besides the point. This actually shook me to my core when I saw this. I was so unbelievably happy. Now, one thing that does not make sense to me is the fact that it's Sonic Generations out of everything. But one thing that also doesn't make sense to me is the fact that it's Sonic Generations, but like on Switch. Which means this has to be either an entirely new game or DLC. But if it's a DLC, then that means for Switch it has to get ported over to Switch. And if it's it just really started to get to me. I have so much questions. And that means if this is a DLC, then that means Switch has to have it, and then that means Sonic Generations has an official port to Switch, what I would be absolutely happy about. But as we already know, it's probably not, because why would they do that? I'm not sure. But enough of me talking about if it's a DLC or a brand new game. One thing that's really starting to shock me is the fact that shadows, like quills, spikes, whatever you want to call them, like the amount they move, that kind of reminds me of like Sonic Prime. For example, I think it's like Sonic, he slams his back into a wall, his spikes go up, and Sonic movies, his spikes, move. And one thing that's starting to really get to me about Shadow the Hedgehog in the trailer is I think it's like an explosion happens and his spikes really shift, and it started to remind me of Sonic 06. And I know that's a really bad comparison. I mean, 06 is horrible, but it just, that thing just really it looks like 06. And the thing with this is it shows Sonic gameplay, what means if it shows Sonic gameplay, is this going to be like a 06 situation, for example, where you have a Sonic story and then you have a Shadow story, but you have to complete a certain amount of Sonic story to get the Shadow story, and Shadow cuts through halfway through, or is it going to be Sonic Generations, just like the intro cutscene, and then Shadow jumps in? If so, I'm not really sure how this connects to Generations at all, because it's more of a time travel thing. I don't know. I can't really speak. It looks like there's some new segments. I lost my copy of Sonic Generations for the 360, and that's what I played it on, and I lost it so many years ago, so I'm not really familiar with it, but I know that whenever I hear the name Generations, it just makes me happy. But I'm really happy. I just thought I'd share this news with you guys. If you guys even have any ideas what this could possibly be, I'm just really happy this came out. I'm gonna buy it on everything I can. I'm gonna buy it on my Switch, my Xbox, just everything. But if you guys have any ideas what this could be, please just comment down below. I'm personally thinking, knowing Nintendo, it's probably just gonna be a completely new game. I'm using Nintendo for example because you don't really want to port it. I would be happy if it was a port and then you could get the DLC. Kind of another bad example, but Sonic Forces, you get the game, but then there's a Shadow DLC. I thought it would be like that, but it seems like it's gonna be entirely a new game. This will probably list as a DLC package, but whatever. I'm just excited to see what it is. It just still is really weird to me how they show Sonic first and looks like there's some new segment. I'm not entirely sure, but like I said, if you have any ideas, please just drop it down below. I may make a part 2 explaining and trying to figure out what this is.